No, okay, ready? Here we go. Basketball time. Talk about it. We love it. Yay. Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Orbital. Rockets have finished off their preseason games, going 3-2, so positive record overall, which is a plus for the team that everyone thought, all right, they're going to get off to a slow start. We don't know if Russell and Harden are going to mesh as well as they have. While receiving some criticism over their pairing, they have fit pretty well. Harden has been going off, and Rourke will let you talk about that a little bit later. Russell did exit last night's win against the Heat with a hand injury that hasn't been detailed yet, so I haven't seen any reports on if he's all right or not. Nothing too bad, nothing super serious, so he'll probably just miss a couple games to start the season and be fine. Gerald Green, on the other hand, is another story. Gerald Green has suffered a broken foot and will most likely be out for the season. Rourke, how does this impact the Rockets for the season?
Well, it's a lot to take in. Honestly, we don't know what's for sure right now. First on West, after he hurt his hand driving, someone poked at him. I'm trying to remember who it was from the Heat. I think it was Harrow. I don't know. But immediately hurt his hand, jogged straight to the locker room. Now, he did have surgery to repair a ligament in his finger on his left hand over the off season, so I'm hoping it's not too serious. But yeah, I do think it shouldn't be too concerning for Westbrook starting the season. Gerald Green, on the other hand, very, very unfortunate, disappointing news. The Atlantic reporting that he will probably miss the whole season off of the surgery to repair his broken left foot. So Gerald Green, it's not confirmed that he's going to be out for the season, but it's probably a sure bet, if you ask me, that he will not play at all this year. And that is going to be a really, really big hit to the Rockets and their ability to stay in games, with their bench players, because as we know, 82-game season, it's a really long season, and we need those contributors to come off the bench and play big minutes throughout the season. And there'll be times when we do have injuries to starters, and we need those guys to step in. And Gerald Green started games for us here and there. Over the course, he's about averaging around 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, shooting over 50% from the floor, but 36% from 3. Really athletic guy, and obviously shoots the ball really well. So it's really disappointing to see Gerald Green, who you and I both really, really like, looking like he's not going to play at all this year. And I'm a big fan of him, a big fan of the greenhouse effect. And now it's looking like it's just going to be a house.
Just a house. But at the end of the day, I started thinking, all right, who's going to replace Gerald Green in the depth charts? And while there is still free agency out there, and I'll let you talk about the guy we both think will probably be a good Gerald Green replacement for the Rockets, I don't think the Rockets are in too bad a shape depth-wise. They do have Thabo Sefolosha, who can probably play the 2. Austin Rivers will play the backup point guard or shooting guard, however that works out. Eric Gordon is still a member of the Rockets, obviously, but he'll most likely start at small forward. You also have Daniel House to play the backup 3. You still have Tucker. You still have a lot of depth on this team. Tyson Chandler, Ryan Anderson will probably have to step up more and now fill the 4 role. But Rourke, you're shaking your head. I'm gonna let you just talk about the guy that you want to join the Rockets this season and become almost the new Gerald Green.
Oh man, so this would be a dream if it were to happen. But there's no denying that even though the Rockets bench is still, we still have a lot of depth, that we're still going to need someone to come in, play some big minutes for us, take that Gerald Green role. And, there's been talks about the Rockets reaching out to $20 million over our salary cap and trade for him. And there's talks about other free agents, Mont Shumpert. The Rockets actually offered a deal to Mont Shumpert during training camp that he denied. So assuming probably shouldn't ask for enough money. So I don't know if we're going to try to revamp talks with him. But, if it were up to me, it's a surefire bet. A guy who's just sitting on the couch like Gerald Green was when, he got picked up by the Rockets. And it's none other than my boy, Swaggy Pete, Nick Young. Obviously, I don't even think there's an introduction, anything I need to say about him. Lethal three-point shooter, unlimited swag, and he brings not only confidence, but real composure to the Rockets' identity that I think really encapsulates our three-point run and gun mentality. He's an athletic guy, too. He's not a high-flying dunk champion Gerald Green, but he can dunk. And he can drive every now and then, but really just a good spot-up shooter, good character for the locker room. And I really, really think that when you have someone who's clutch, that wants to shoot the ball like that, JR, Nick Young, those type of guys, Gerald Green, those quick trigger, that's what we need. We need someone that's willing to just go out there and just pull it, So Nick Young's a good three-point shooter, played in the three-point contest before when he was with the Lakers. He can shoot the rock. And I think he could play that reserve role that he played for the Warriors. He could just play that for the Rockets too. And I mean, I don't see if we bring him in on a vet minimum, like the worst that can happen. It's like the same thing as like what happened to Carmelo last year. We just dip him. Like at this point, since we still have depth, I don't know if we're really going to take a chance on someone like Swaggy P, but we're going to need some type of offense coming off the bench, especially in the middle of the season. Gerald is always the type of GM to be making moves throughout the season, who we start the lineup with this season, not who we're going to be playing in the playoffs. But I think we're going to make some sort of move right now just for the start of the season to have that depth. If we don't, it will be because of transition to, we talked about him before, and this is kind of like, I guess, my little Rockets breakout pick on the team, Chris Clemens, who you and I, we both love. His contract just got his rookie contract into a two-way contract. So similar to what we did with Daniel House this year and bringing him in, like we thought Chris Clemens would probably just play a lot of G League this year, but he's making some waves. He's doing some stuff in the preseason. I mean, he caught fire and not against the Heat, but the night before, and when he came in the fourth quarter, he had like 11 points in 2 minutes. So he can bring that offense, that firepower that we need. He shoots the ball incredibly well. Very athletic. Only problem with Chris Clemens is he's 5'9", so he's very small, but he makes up for that with his shooting and driving capability. What do you think about this whole Gerald Green replacement? How do you see it playing out right now? I think Chris Clemens is probably the sure bet right now to kind of just step in. But.
Well, Chris Clemens, if you move Chris Clemens in, you move everyone down a spot, and that just makes it a smaller lineup. And I'm not a huge fan of the smaller lineups. That's why when I was thinking about it, I was like, well, we will miss Gerald Green's offense. His defense is nothing really to speak about. While he is lengthy, I believe he's 6'7", 6'8", maybe. He has long wingspan. He moves. He's mobile. He moves his feet, but he's not really that imposing of a defender. And so a guy like Thabo Sefolosha, who is a good three-point shooter, shot over 40% last year on minimal attempts, and those attempts will only go up. And you would assume even if his percentage does go down, it's only going to go down to about the 37, 36% range. Nothing past 35, which would be concerning at that point. But he's still going to be above league average shooter, and his defense is going to be way above what Gerald Green did bring. Daniel House at the same time also a better defender than Gerald Green, and can shoot the three. Nick Young obviously is my ideal pickup because he's similar to Gerald Green. Does have a championship under his belt, which means that he can bring that experience to the Rockets as well. Gerald Green doesn't have that. While Nick Young wasn't a main contributor to the Warriors that year, he was around that atmosphere. Maybe he can bring that attitude to the team, like a Tyson Chandler kind of guy. They're very different players, but he might be able to bring a speck of that. It is sad to see him go. He is a guy that, come mid-January, mid-February, you're down by 10 and you're going into the fourth quarter, and he's a guy that can get you back into games.
Yeah, we got injuries. He can fill that spot, that role real easy.
He's an excitement player. He's the kind of guy that keeps morale going in the team, gets momentum plays. So that part's going to suck. But you bring a guy like Nick Young in, and he can do the same thing, right? Everyone loves Nick Young. Everyone loves his highlight plays. He's kind of like a Lance Stevenson kind of guy, or Michael Beasley, right? He's a fan favorite kind of guy. You just want to see him succeed. And when he does good, the crowd goes wild, and that motivates a team to get back in the game. So those things don't show up on the stat sheet, but they're things that a GM should consider when thinking about who to add to their team. But you brought up how Daryl Morey never really finishes the season with the team he starts the season with, right? The year that the Rockets went to 7 games with the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals was one of the first times that team didn't make a trade at the trade deadline, right? Every other year, he has made trades at the trade deadline and changed up the team, especially last year, right? This team is pretty deep, pretty set in stone, in my opinion. Unless guys underperform what they're expected to perform at, I don't see a lot of guys getting moved unless it's really to make a big deal. Do you trade a couple bench players that are really contributing for a star that you know is going to count in the playoffs?
Yeah, and that brings up an interesting point too, because I'm kind of curious too, with no additions right now, how you see the depth line up right now for the Rockets. I mean, because even the starters are a little unsure because, Daryl Morey, even in these preseason games, the last couple, he's starting Daniel House over Eric Gordon. Originally, Eric Gordon was named the starting, 3 for us, but now we're experiencing a little bit with Daniel House, which we did last season in the playoffs a little bit too, and keeping Gordon, bringing him off the bench to have that kind of firepower that now Gerald Green was going to bring. Now we really need that bench firepower. So now I'm starting to think that, if you ask me, Eric Gordon was the starter, but I think we're going to start Daniel House now and off the bench as a 6th man again. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, we talked about it in the last episode. I actually completely agree with this. I think the Rockets' rebounding troubles last year were a big part of it was because we started Eric Gordon out of his natural position of the 2 guard, right? You start him at the 3, you take a big rebounding hit, right? Your lineup, and you talked about the heights a little bit. You started a lineup with Chris Paul, who's like maybe 6 foot, James Harden at 6'5", but isn't a huge battler of rebounds. Even though he gets a lot of rebounds, a lot of them are what people would have called in 2016 a Russell Westbrook rebound, right? They're not really going in there and battling. They're more of you get rebounds by default. And the Rockets do force a lot of missed shots, and that's why he got his rebounds. Anyway, then you have Eric Gordon, who's now listed at 6'3". PJ Tucker now listed at 6'5", even though he is a banger. He is undersized, and so there's a natural disadvantage there. Clint Capella was forced to get a lot of rebounds, and you saw it in the stats, right? His stats, a lot of double-doubles last season for Clint. And most of that was because he was one of the best rebounders on his team, if not the only good rebounder besides PJ Tucker. And statistically, James Harden on the Rockets starting lineup last year. So taking Eric Gordon out of the lineup and putting Daniel House, a taller guy, a 6'7", 6'8" kind of player, who hasn't really achieved a whole bunch in the league, right? It still shows that hunger to just compete, right? Doesn't really care about his stats, just competes. He's going to go after rebounds, and that will help the Rockets a lot. I think another guy that if Daniel House doesn't perform, you move Tabo into that position where he can be the starting 3. I think that's a great addition. He is what we're going to label as the Trevor Ariza comparison for the Rockets this year, right? He can shoot the 3, he can handle a little bit better than Ariza could, and he plays defense, right? He plays defense, he competes. That's what his role in the team is. But I've always loved more when Eric Gordon comes off the bench. It allows him to make his own impact, right? Read the defense, see what's going on in the game, and really make his decision on what he's going to do at that point. Versus put him in the starting lineup and you just see him chunking a bunch of 3s and getting off to a really cold start that he has to correct come October, November, and maybe then he starts turning in. But if you start, Eric Gordon has shown if you start slow, he can turn it around, but you always want him in the best ideal situation where he's able to drive the rim more than just chuck up a bunch of 3s.
Yeah, I think him putting him in with the second unit and kind of leading that second unit is going to get him better touch than kind of forcing him with Harden and Westbrook to kind of just like, oh, here's a quick 3, hope you make it kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I think to be able to get into a better rhythm coming off the bench and getting a bigger role in the offense that way because Harden or Westbrook will be sitting at that point. So we're in agreement that it's probably going to be Daniel House and then Gordon, but now I think we disagree in terms of you think Cephalosha is that Gerald Green replacement, and I think right now it's probably more closer in terms of, I know you like Cephalosha's shooting, but I think Ben Malcolm-Moore is probably a better shooter still.
Better pure shooter, I'll agree with that for sure.
No, Cephalosha, he's got probably the defensive edge leaning his way. He's got the old chemistry with Harden and Westbrook. I don't know how much that's worth, but he'll be relevant. I just think that Malcolm-Moore will probably average more minutes at least start out. You want to take
Tabo Cephalosha?
You want to take a water bet on that?
Oh, a what? A water bet? I will take any bet on that one. All right, you know what? I'm gonna bring this up. This is before Orbital, but when Luke Mbamute was signed to the Rockets, I told you, Rourke, Ben, he's gonna be a great addition to the team, and all of you guys said, listen, I don't know who that guy is. Well, you knew who he was. I'm not gonna say that. You're like, this guy's not gonna do anything, right? Same thing with PJ Tucker to a lesser extent, right? But the guys who can compete on the defensive end and knock down, catch and shoot threes are the guys D'Antoni is gonna play more. And that guy is Tabo Cephalosha, right? If you were to rank the past 4 guys in terms of defense, real 3 and D players for the Rockets, right? You have Ariza, probably the best it's been in the past 3 years. Then I would put PJ Tucker. I would put Tabo Cephalosha next, and then Luke Rashad Mbamute at the very bottom of that list. Tabo Cephalosha will play more minutes than a washed-up draft bust in Ben McLemore.
What's the age difference between them? I'm curious. Probably similar, but
I believe Tabo is over the age of 32.
I think Cephalosha is probably a little old.
Let's look it up.
So they're kind of synonymous players in terms of Rockets depth for me, but I think the real surprise throughout the season, which I really think will be the Gerald Green replacement.
Tabo Cephalosha is 35 years old, for the record.
Who?
Tabo is 35.
Yeah, he's an old man. He is old. So, he's still athletic. He's still got some jets and
he's like fine wine.
Yeah. So Chris Clemens, my point is, I think he'll start in the G League a little bit. I think the Rockets could definitely use him and bring him in. I don't think he's scared of the moment at all. And I think he's ready to go undrafted free agent rookie this year on the Rockets. And now didn't look like he was even going to really play much at all in terms of just in the G League. Might probably get cut from the roster, but through practices, really showing his potential. Now it's looking like he can play real minutes on the team. And that's what I'm advocating for. I think he's good enough to fulfill that kind of 8th man, 9th man role and give you about 10 minutes a game and bring a little bit of that Gerald Green firepower. People are tired at the beginning of the 4th quarter, and that's kind of Gerald Green's time to come in, pop off a couple threes, get the momentum going, end of the 3rd quarter type of game. Chris Clemens easily could have that. I mean, do you think he could play some real minutes?
I think Chris Clemens could play a couple. The Rockets are such a deep team that it's hard for him to really play a significant role like a bench sophomore or a bench rookie would, right? Like you can see guys like Miles Bridges or Mikal Bridges, sorry. You can see guys like Mikal Bridges in Phoenix, right? He would play, you can see where his opportunities will come. With the Rockets, it's hard for an undersized backup point guard to really find his role on the team, especially in his first year, right? He will play a lot more in the G League than he will on the main roster. And even though it is a 2-way contract, a lot of those games might be just sit on the bench and travel with the team and understand what the lifestyle is like, how to prepare for real NBA games. Because he could be a future player, right? Like we said the same thing about Joe Cheat, right? Like we want you to travel with the team, be with the team. Hartenstein's the same way. Be with the team, travel with the team, play a couple games here and there when they're blowouts, get those experiences, let's see what we can do. At the end of the day, right, if you're Daryl Morey, you want him to raise his trade value, right? Because all the odds will say he won't replace Austin Rivers as the backup point guard, right? But if you can use him to show his potential and better himself as a basketball player and then send him a place where he can be used, right? Now that I'm saying all this, D'Anthony Melton is the name that comes to mind, right? He had a lot of trade value after preseason and summer league, and we traded him to Phoenix, and he kind of whistled out, but that is what it is. But Melton was the same way. He wasn't really going to get a lot of minutes as the backup point guard necessarily.
Yeah, I agree. I think
he shows a lot of potential. I just don't think the Rockets ever really let guys who show potential play that much.
Yeah, and just because we're just so experienced or kind of older in general, that we don't really want to go into having to invest in that type of player development during regular season games that really matter at the end of the day in terms of our position and seeding for the playoffs. But regardless, still think he can give some real contribution. All right, that's kind of like the wing depth. I want to touch into how you see the post depth playing out, because it's pretty obvious with Capella and PJ Tucker as the 4. But after that, I don't really even know. Like, because let's talk about it. You got Tyson Chandler and Nene.
Mm-hmm.
You got Hartenstein and Ryan Anderson.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure, I don't know if Nene and Chandler are going to kind of play different nights, because Nene doesn't play every game. I'm not assuming we're going to play Chandler every game.
Chandler's
I'm wondering
almost
if it's
40, so he's definitely not going to play every game.
Yeah. So I don't know if we're going to alternate nights where Chandler and Nene are the back center, or if we're going to bring in someone like a Hartenstein to play some minutes. I don't think Ryan Anderson and Gary Clark, they might get in here and there, but I mean, that would be at the 4, obviously. It'll be interesting because Ryan Anderson's played in the system already with D'Antoni, if he kind of gets a little nod with these injuries and playing the 4 behind PJ Tucker. But I personally, I'm not really feeling it.
You see, I think you're at a better place mentally than I am about Ryan Anderson. I think you take a guy like Ryan Anderson, and let's be honest, I mean, you're right, he has played in D'Antoni's system before. He's also played himself out of D'Antoni's system before. And so you look at that, and I don't know if it's just you were together, you broke up, and maybe you can make things work again kind of relationship with Ryan Anderson. And that maybe since he's been gone and I haven't watched a lot of Phoenix Suns or Miami Heat games of him playing, that I'm like, maybe Ryan Anderson can reinvigorate his career with the Rockets and really be that stretch 4 we thought he was going to be, that he was his first year in due respect to him. But at the end of the day, yeah, Ryan Anderson will probably play spot minutes. He's mostly there as a veteran in case injuries happen, right? In the preseason, he's shown flashes, right? He's knocked down some threes. He's been lackluster defensively. He is what we think he is, right? Gary Clark, I really hope he takes another step this year, because he actually shows a lot of potential to be the eventual advancement to PJ Tucker, right? When contract talks, when PJ Tucker overvalues himself and the Rockets undervalue him, and we go through that whole soap opera of what is PJ Tucker's value, even though he is probably the 4th most valuable player on the Rockets, his stats don't mean he should be paid like a superstar, or even a star complementary piece to a contender's team. Even when that happens, Gary Clark shows the ability to knock down threes, penetrate, play defense. Not at PJ Tucker's level, but he can play defense. Hartenstein's the same way, right? Hartenstein's a guy that I'm really hoping does take the leap this year and at least gets the opportunity, because once again, the Rockets love to play veteran players and let their rookies show off in the G League. And I feel like we always talk about how the Rockets chase the Warriors. It's the one thing the Warriors have done for years that the Rockets have not, and that is take their young talent and develop them, but really do give them minutes and opportunities to lose and fail or succeed and win. Like, they'll learn either way, but Rockets don't really give that opportunity to Hartenstein or Gary Clark unless they're up by 20 or 30 and there's 4 minutes left. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and I think that's just because our team's experienced and old, and like every game really matters, so there's no real time to waste in investing in some developing player for the purpose of their development. But
it's sad to see that they see it that way, as wasting time. I think even though you say that, I think that is how the Rockets see it.
They see that, they view that as that's why they're in the G League. And we come from the standpoint of like a guy like Clemens and Hartenstein, given real opportunity, I think can add real value to the Rockets' depth. I know you're big on Hartenstein. I think he can really help the Rockets out too. It's just going to be a little tight in terms of depth with our big men right now. I think Hartenstein could add more value as a 4 than a 5, because at the center position, knock on wood, no injuries, we're going to have a lot of depth. I think we're going to be fine with Capella, Nene, and Chandler.
Yeah. There's a lot of versatility there. Chandler and Capella are very similar, but Capella's more a younger version of Chandler. But it does depend a lot on the matchup that night. Will Nene play? Will Chandler play? Will all three of them and Hartenstein play? Will PJ Tucker not see a whole bunch of time at the 4 necessarily? If we're playing a Portland or a Denver or a teams that have lots of bigs, and Orlando even.
I'd be surprised if we played Chandler or Capella at the same time, but yeah, matchup like Portland, I mean, it's good that we have the availability to adjust our lineups in that kind of way.
Even Philadelphia too, they get in there as well.
We can work with 2 posts with the Rockets. It's going to be a little interesting in terms of spacing the floor, but I guess that's what we're going to find out pretty soon here, because the first game, John, the first game's on Thursday.
Yeah.
The 4th.
Tuesday, Thursday.
Well, the first Rockets game is Thursday, the first NBA game. The NBA season starts Tuesday night.
Okay, there we go. Thursday versus the Clippers.
Thursday. Yeah, there's 2 games Tuesday night. Lakers Clips. I'll take the Lakers. And then the Raptors and Pelicans. I'll take the Pelicans.
Actually, I don't take the Clippers. I'll take the Lakers. You're right about that.
Yeah, definitely going to be the Lakers.
What was the second game you said?
Pelicans and Raptors.
Pelicans and Raptors. I'm going to take the Raptors on that one.
Zion's not playing.
I know, so I'm taking the Raptors.
No, Zion's got a sore knee. He's going to be missing the first couple weeks. I hope Westbrook, it's going to be interesting. I'm surprised in terms of what's going on with Westbrook, because I'm a little nervous. Come out, he could have some torn ligament in his thumb or something. Westbrook could be injured to start this. He might not be playing Thursday. It's up in the air. So I hope all is well with him. But it seems like the injury bugs, it's coming a little early so far, and I hope it's not hitting the Rockets, because Gerald Green's feeling it right now, and so is Beth.
Well, you'd rather hit him now than come March or February.
Yeah.
That's true.
And the Rockets had a slow start. Remember, back to the beginning of the last season, the Rockets had a slow start last year due to injuries as well. When we had the team healthy, we kind of had a slow start. But there was a time when we were tied for the 14th team in the league, or we were 4-11 or something. We had a bad start. So Harden took over in his MVP run, but he I don't think that our team last year compared to our team this year, I think our team this year has way more help for Harden.
A lot more help, a lot more depth, a lot more solidarity, I would say. Because you have Austin Rivers returning. You got a lot more guys returning this year.
Yeah, and Harden's going to be in MVP form. No doubt about that. Already averaging close to 40 in the preseason, coming off a 44, 10-7 game, a 40-point game, 7-7. So he is Harden, he might burn out in the second week of the regular season, if you ask me. Because it's like Harden's playing in June right now, but the season hasn't started the way he's playing. So that's a good, transition right now into our first game against the Bucks on Thursday night. The Rockets are going to be playing, I believe it's at 7 o'clock on Thursday, October 24th, against Milwaukee. Former MVP against the reigning MVP. Who you got?
I'm going to say the Bucks probably win in the season opener. Just because I feel like the Rockets without Russell, Giannis is going to travel a bunch and dunk on people and do a lot of offensive fouls, and I'm still a sour Rockets fan about the whole James Harden losing MVP. No, I do think the Bucks will win. I think they will, as one of the teams that didn't go through a whole bunch of changing this week or this past offseason. I think the Bucks are going to have a really hot start to the regular season, and the Rockets might stumble a little bit right out the gates. So I think Giannis and the Bucks take the first game of the regular season. What do you think?
I don't want to agree with you, so I'm not going to agree with you. But I can understand where you're coming from with the Rockets' slow start and the Bucks looking like they're a well-oiled machine. They know what they're doing.
Especially if Russell is not playing, that's a big part as well.
Yeah, and you take into account Westbrook not playing. It's looking like it's probably a lot's going to fall on Harden's shoulders. Now, I think Harden will probably I mean, over under 45 probably. I mean, I think he will absolutely shoot the lights out. Whether, he's making shots or not, I think he will, in his mind, he's got something to prove, especially against the Bucks in the first game. Not only this season, starting out, not getting MVP, and Westbrook's not playing, having to take the load, but against Giannis, I really think that he's going to try to show out. And the Rockets, obviously, everyone's going to be excited with the first game of the NBA season's back, so everyone will be ready to go. But the Bucks probably, it's at Houston, so I think Westbrook playing brings it's a nice wild card. We don't know if he is going to be in or not, so it's hard to tell. But I'm obviously probably just going to have to lean Houston's way. It'll be a close game, probably really high scoring. Unless it's just a show, no one's making shots. But after that, we play the Pelicans, which should be fun with no Zion. We'll probably destroy them.
Yeah, that's a definite dub.
And so that's next week, and we'll be talking about that. We'll be breaking down the start of the regular season next week and how everything's playing out.
I think the real question here, Rourke, and the serious question is, will the Orbital curse show his ugly head again next season? Will all our predictions be wrong? Will the Rockets do horrible every week? We predict they're going to destroy all 3 or 4 of their opponents that they play. That would be a very interesting storyline to see. One game I don't think the Orbital curse will affect is our game against the Thunder in this first week, right? Is that in Oklahoma or is that in Houston?
The game against the Thunder is at their first 3 games at home. And so we're going to be playing in Houston. Chris Paul's going to be coming back. That should be pretty fun.
What do you think the storylines are going to be there? I mean, first time Russell plays his old team. First time Chris Paul comes back to Houston. I think we both assume the Rockets will destroy them by 10 or so.
I think it'll be a good game.
I think it'll be a fun game to watch. The Thunder really don't have a lot of veteran players besides Steven Adams, Chris Paul, a couple other players here and there. But a lot of the team is in the development stage. So you play an established team in the Bucks, and then you play 2 somewhat rebuilding teams in the Thunder and the Pelicans for your first week. They have a great opportunity to get out 2-1 at the very worst.
They might drop to the Bucks, but the Pelicans sure will without Zion, and so should the Thunder. So I don't think, and we play the Wizards in Washington, so we should have a nice solid start to the season. But I think that Thunder game, I mean, it's just hard to really put into context right now because we don't know if Western. But I think that game's going to be really exciting to watch regardless. Chris Paul, I see Chris Paul having a good year. I mean, what do you think? You think over under like 18-9? I
think 18-9 is a very obtainable goal for Chris Paul, especially if he doesn't get traded.
Shea is going to play a lot of guard. So that could hinder his ball handling opportunities, but Paul will act like he's got something to prove, have the ball a whole lot more, appears to be very healthy right now. So it seems like he's got all the cards. He's got a young, and he should be able to orchestrate. I mean, that's what he's done his whole career. So I see Chris Paul having a nice little bounce back,
a reestablishment here, I would say. He will reestablish himself as one of the better point guards. I think the past 2 years in Houston, he has not been able to show it because obviously he's paired with James Harden, but paired with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, it's obviously you should be the driving force there.
Yeah, I think Chris Paul could reestablish himself and then put himself in a position to potentially, I don't know if he's going to like being in OKC, but he'll hopefully be able to make himself good enough to get traded to a contender and be like second or third piece on a contender team with 2 guards. I remember we joked about it. back in the day about him returning to the Clippers. That'd be kind of cool. They re-signed Beverly, with 2 guards. That could be interesting, but whatever.
Very interesting. I think Miami is probably the more likely scenario for him because the contracts and everything.
I don't think Butler wants him, but I've heard about Beal getting traded to Miami, which would be pretty solid.
He did just sign that 4-year extension, so we'll see where that comes into play.
The trade, a sign and trade. I saw a rumor that they would send Heat. I saw a potential trade. Heat send like Bam and Winslow and Dragic. I don't know. Whatever. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna. Wizards are gonna be trash. We're getting a little off topic, but the Rockets openings week should be, if not 3-0, then 2-1.
Alright everybody, thanks for watching once again. If you liked the video, make sure to like it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're doing. This is year 2 already. Just subscribe, turn the bell icon for notifications.
The boys are back.
The boys are back. Next week, this is a little preview. I think it's the first time we've ever previewed our next episode. Next week, after a full first week of NBA action, we will preview our predictions for all the awards, Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year. It will not be Zion from either one of us. I hope you already know that. Then MVP, obviously, and all that jazz. So make sure to tune in next week on Sunday for the 3rd episode of Orbital. Thank you again for watching. Go and like us on social media. Follow us at Instagram and on Twitter at Orbital_podcast. We will be doing live tweeting during all Rockets game this season. And on Instagram, we will keep a live tally of organized prediction for every NBA game this season. And at the end of the season, maybe the loser has to do a little something crazy. We'll see what happens. Thank you again for watching. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time.